Where do you see kind of things catching fire first from a Topple point of view?
Yeah, so to speak kind of to some of Tupple's ecosystem development to date, the first area that we really started getting involved in and started getting good traction in was the supply chain side. So we've done a lot of work and continue to do a lot of work with ethical supply chains or more sustainable supply chains. So, everything conflict-free diamonds, sustainable timber, fair wage agriculture, because what we stumbled upon, what we realized with supply chains didn't have a bootstrapping problem. So many blockchain applications, use cases, they're all marketplace based. They're two-sided marketplaces, buyer and seller, or sometimes they're even more than two-sided marketplaces. And so if like one player or just a few people are coming into that, you can't really get value out of it. That's why liquidity farming is such a big deal, because you have to get people in before there's value for them to have. Supply chains never had that problem and still don't have that problem, because since you're delivering transparency, since you're delivering immutability, all those great things that blockchain does, you can actually do that one supply chain at a time. So when we went around selling our blockchain to these groups, it didn't matter if anyone else was using it, because the value was there for them, even if they were just using it on their own. So we found that fun little hack to at least get started. But from there, and where we're, I think, really starting to see acceleration is we're seeing a lot of demand on the carbon side, actually. There's really a proliferation of new carbon exchanges, new carbon standards, just a lot of innovation that's happening in that space, because the way that carbon markets work today, it's not quite a monopoly, but it's pretty close, in that you have a couple incredibly large legacy players that, because there's reputational risk, because there are concerns that they need to tackle, they can be somewhat slow moving sometimes. And again, sometimes they have really good reason for that, but it's still, people want to innovate and people want to go somewhere with their new ideas. And so we're seeing a lot of that migrate into the Web3 space. I think we're seeing a lot of that because one of the things that I think Web3 does incredibly well is it allows for specialization, in the sense that in a lot of legacy industries, you had huge incentives for vertical integration. So if we think of banks, for example, you would take deposits, they would issue loans, they would have investment arms, and you just had this full stack, this huge suite of services. But blockchains can be so interconnected, they can be so composable, you can have better specialization. And we're kind of starting to see that in the carbon space, where you're having auditors that are separate from the standards bodies, that are separate from the registries, that are separate from the exchanges. So everyone can kind of be experimenting together, and you can hit that critical mass more quickly.